Nick Caserio is officially saying goodbye to New England and is headed to Houston as the new GM for the Texans. I'm Mariah, Janos, joined by Evan Lazar. Evan, when we last talked about this being a possibility, you said you thought it was pretty unlikely. So what's your reaction to this now?
It's absolutely shocking because honestly, Houston hired a firm, the name of the firm is slipping my mind right now, to put together a list of names for general manager candidates. Nick Caserio's name was not on that list. And that's where I came up with the fact that I thought that it was pretty unlikely that Nick Caserio was going to end up in Houston because everything that was pointing towards them going in a different direction. Then it sounds to me like around Sunday or Monday, Jack Easterby, former Patriot chaplain, who's now has a lot of power in the Houston front office, made a late push to convince Cal McNair, the owner of the Texans, to hire Nick Caserio as his next general manager. So this was some House of Cards, Game of Thrones type of stuff by Jack Easterby to kind of sweep in at the last second, plant that seed, and get his guy in Nick Caserio after all of this time. And it really is stunning. It kind of reminds me of when the Cleveland Browns drafted Johnny Manziel when everybody else told them to take Teddy Bridgewater and they took Manziel anyways. That's sort of what this feels like, is that only person in that building that really thought that they had a chance at Caserio and wanted Caserio was Jack Easterby, and he got back in the owner's ear and somehow got his way again. It's amazing what Jack Easterby's been able to do as a guy that has absolutely zero personnel experience whatsoever in college or the NFL. He has taken over the Houston Texans and is getting his way there down in Houston. It's shocking.
Yeah, and this actually might work out in their favor. Deshaun Watson was asked what he was looking for in a GM, and he just said he wants everybody to be on the same page. So with Jack Easterby and Nick Caserio, they're coming from the same system. So hopefully this will maybe help clean up the mess that's going on down in Houston. But as for the Patriots, what's the trickle-down effect here looking like?
Well, I think this is more a situation where Bill Belichick does run the show here in New England. We know that. Bill has final say on the draft board. He has final say on all personnel decisions. But Nick Caserio was a guy that wore multiple hats for New England beyond just player personnel side of things. He was not just a GM that sat up in the owner's box on game day and watched the games like the rest of us. This was a very active, energetic, lively person in the organization who did a bunch of different things week in and week out. Bill Belichick once called his resume or his job description several pages long in an answer to the reporters about Nick Caserio's role with the team. So what does that exactly mean? It means that the Patriots now no longer have Nick Caserio's input on the practice field, on game day in the coach's booth, obviously with personnel decisions as well. So this is Bill Belichick's top lieutenant. It's not going to be easy to replace that, but then again, you still have the general, right? You lost the lieutenant, but you still have the general. So at the end of the day, it's still going to be the Patriots. It's still going to be Bill Belichick's decision. But Caserio is a very rare personnel exec, and the fact that he doesn't just do personnel sides of things, that he's very, very hands-on and involved in the day-to-day of the team, which is not typically the norm around the league.
Do you see them bringing in someone, like you said, that wears many hats?
Well, they do have some in-house candidates. You know, Dave Ziegler is the assistant director of player personnel. He got promoted from last year when he was college scouting director. Now he's the assistant director of player personnel. The easiest thing to do would certainly be just to promote Ziegler to Caserio's position and let him, continue the role of the ball. I think the biggest thing is that the Patriots could look into some unique ways. Elliot Wolf is one name to monitor, who is a consultant with the team right now. He's somebody that has GM and player personnel experience in the past, the son of Ron Wolf, who's a legendary general manager of the Packers back in the day. So he's somebody that you could look for. Bob Quinn, who was fired by Detroit, used to be a Patriot scout and then was hired by the Lions to be their general manager. That didn't work out. Thomas Dimitroff used to be a Patriot exec back in the day as well, and then he was fired this offseason by Atlanta. So they have a lot of people out there that if they do want to look outside the organization and bring somebody back that was once talents with the team, they can do that to sort of fill some of the roles that Caserio did. Because I'm not sure if Ziegler has the same sort of passion or energy. I'm not saying he doesn't necessarily, but I'm not sure if he has the same sort of desires to have so many different jobs that Caserio held and did on a day-to-day basis, or if he's more just a guy that's looking to be in the personnel side of things, working in the front office.
All right. Well, there's a bunch of options, as you just mentioned. We'll see what happens. For all of our Patriots coverage, head to clnsmedia.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel over at Patriots Press Pass.